had the most amazing relationship, in my opinion, for two brothers over the years that have really been a great working relationship as well as a family relationship.
It's very, very unusual, the relationship that we've had, and I think the respect that we've always had for one another. Disagree, yes, both of us at times. And you win some and you lose some. But after it's over with, we just go on down the road and what decision was made, and that was it. It's been very rewarding, and to look back, you know, we're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 40-some years now in close business.
Both of us didn't have any money. I borrowed most of mine and finally got it. Some of it paid out when we left Newport. So it's quite a story, but we relied on each other. You always, to me, seemed like a balance wheel. I wanted to gamble to a greater degree always than maybe you were ready to do. And I would listen to you. We'd argue a little bit, maybe. But once we decided we were going to go or not go, why, we were both together. And I think that was something that we can be awfully proud of. I couldn't afford to pay you, but I said, Bud, if you'll come in and help me or I want to learn the business for a while, I'll pay you 35 cents an hour.
No, it wasn't that much.
Wasn't it that much?
I don't think it's that much.
Maybe I didn't pay you.
I think it's $50 a month.
$50 a month.
And I had subsistence from the government. I think it's 75 maybe or something.
Well, it doesn't matter. But what it allowed us to do was when Bud came in, I really had me assistant manager, and he started learning the business. And, of course, the things that we know are important today were applied in that first Newport store, Bud, you remember?
Oh.
We worked our heads off. We tried to take care of our customers as best we could. But it allowed me to get involved in the Chamber of Commerce and get involved in the Industrial Committee.
It was a great place to start.
But anyway, we had a great relationship and a great start there for our partnership. And then you went your way and bought that $47,000 store in Versailles, Missouri.
Volume,
not profit. And Helen and I went ahead with Newport. And the story, I think, is pretty well known at Newport. We, I've been terrible about setting goals all my life and trying to get there. And one of my goals, as you well know, was to make that the best store in Arkansas.
That's right.
And we got there before we left town. We became the biggest store, the most profitable Ben Franklin store in the state of Arkansas. I don't really understand quite how we succeeded. One of the real lessons, I guess, Bud, is that neither one of us knew the business.
True.
And we knew so little about the variety store business that we had to take the book that was written by Ben Franklin and apply the principles and apply the controls and the merchandising programs that they outlined for us. But, of course, knowing you and knowing myself a little bit, we added on, didn't we?
That's exactly right. But
we were mavericks even then, and we started doing strange things like cranking up ice cream machines on the sidewalk on Saturday night, running popcorn on the other end of the sidewalk, hawking anything we could hawk on that looked like it might have a chance to sell wherever. It made an easy life, actually. We worked hard.
That's right.
But it gave us a vehicle to ride on.
That's right, exactly.
Without having to buy merchandise, ourselves all the time, or distribution centers, not having to do the thing we'd had to do when we built Walmart. Helen and I left Newport. We lost our lease, left Newport. Bud was situated in Versailles, doing great. Never did get around to hiring him a manager and going fishing all the time, but he did do his fair of fishing. Then we came to Bentonville, and that eventful date, May the 9th, 1950. And, Bud, you thought you bought a big store. The store in Bentonville that we bought, you remember you came down and looked at the location, looked at the town. There were 3 little old variety stores here. You shook your head. We stood over there on the corner by where the old bank was, counted traffic. There wasn't hardly anybody on the sidewalk. And Mr. Harrison's store did become available. He and his family recommended that they did decide to sell it, but they were only doing $32,000 a year.
Isn't that amazing?
And we've been running that Newport store up and got it up to 225, and we come up here just because of, well, you know why we came. It was the area that attracted us. That's what we started with in Bentonville. The chain store bug had already bitten me.
Right.
And it wasn't long. As soon as I could afford it all, I started casting around for another location. And where was that? Fayetteville on the square? It was that little 18-foot store.
Shotgun, 1952?
1952. We got the store at Fayetteville started, didn't we?
Right. And
it became very successful. So then one day I got a call from Ben Franklin, and they said, hey, we got a store in Kansas City. And you remember the story?
I certainly do.
And I thought, well, if I've got to go to Kansas City, I've got to get me an airplane. And I had never flown.
Probably first looked at it in '53, I'd say. And this was our first venture in a shopping center.
Yeah, and there were practically no shopping centers in 1953.
That's true. That's exactly right. And this was something entirely new and different. And everybody was skittish of it.
Yeah, no one else wanted the franchise,
That's
really.
Right.
Another one of those situations.
Right.
And Bud said, well, I'll take half of it. I think I can put enough money together to get half of it. I said, well, if you can, I'll try to do my part. And we'll go up there and we'll just take another gamble.
Sure right. And it was a gamble. It was out 20 miles from the Kansas City limits. Time we got the store open, why, it was a winner from the day we opened.
I mean, it was the best profit store. I know one year it made $30,000, which to us was more money than we'd ever heard or ever dreamed about being able to make out of one store. Bud, the bottom line is that we developed the formula of how important our hourly associates are for our company. Our company is built on people. The success we've had is because of our people. And I believe that. You believed it from the beginning. All of our associates believe it. We've made partners out of our folks rather than employees. And they know that we've been sincere in trying to share the profits with them. And they, in turn, have worked harder than our competitors. We've kept our prices lower than our competitors' prices. We've led the nation in cost of doing business, in sales per square foot, in all the measurements you can imagine over about a 15-year period in this business that we've all put together here in Bentonville, Arkansas. And I guess we could say we've overcome a few liabilities, because who would have thought we could have done it in Bentonville? I certainly have enjoyed
I have to, brother.
the morning and the reminiscing, and I thank you for our partnership.
Well, it's been great.